Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today we are speaking with a Marine who lives in New York City where she runs her own business. This athlete turned pro in 2017 at Muscle Contest USA's and found her passion for bodybuilding when she was working to make weight for the Marines. And then she did her first competition after her divorce in 2015. She competed in 5 regional shows and 2 national shows from 2015 to 2017 before taking 5 years off and returning to the stage in August of 2022 to make her pro debut, where she placed 10th, I believe, which is amazing, especially after saying she would never compete again. So I'm really looking forward to learn more about this athlete. We've been connected for years, so this is exciting for me. Welcome to the show, Shantal Barros. How are you doing?
I'm excited. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course. And I'm really looking forward to just jumping in and getting into everything. But I have to ask if there's anything you do or think about or a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage.
Yes, I give the cross and then I thank God for the present moment, everything, and then try to embrace everything. And then I step on stage, like literally as before I step on stage.
Amazing. How has your faith impacted your journey?
A lot. Every single morning I would wake up and thank God for everything, for waking up. And when I'm struggling, I'm just like, I have to thank God that I have everything that I have, because we are able to do all of this. You're able to prep for a show, you're able to eat all the foods, and you have time to do all of this. It's a luxury to do this.
Absolutely. It's such a luxury. And if we keep that abundance mentality and really give thanks to God for providing this opportunity, I think it keeps us grounded more too. Like when we're present with our food, it's like this is a gift. Like we were given the opportunity to live on this earth that's providing nourishment that we actually need to survive, which when you think about it is really crazy. So when we go down those paths in our mind with gratitude and deep connection to our choices, I think it helps us get out of autopilot mode and really stay connected to what a blessing it is to choose to do this.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So let's jump into something like immediately, which is I want to know why you said you would never compete again in 2017 after you earned your pro card, and then what made you want to recommit to competing.
Um, Honestly, I was just batshit crazy during that time. I was like that prep girl that went a bit crazy. I had really bad mood swings and like, you're hangry and it's just like I was really, really young during that time too. And now thinking about it, I was just like, what the heck was wrong with me? Like, how can I do that? But um as you know, there's people who go where they don't eat like anything for quite a while. And I was competing like for about 3 years straight. So like I didn't really have an off season at all. Even when I did my breast, like I think I've only went away for like a good 2 months and then I went back onto prep and then we just kept doing show after show after show because like I had the mentality where like when I set a goal for myself, it's gonna get done. Like I
Mhm.
said, I'm gonna get my pro card. I'm gonna get my pro card before I get out. I'm gonna get my pro card. Like it doesn't matter what I do or anything, I'm gonna do it. So I went through my ups and down phases, that roller coaster. And then obviously, like you talk about it on your Instagram too. Like since that I followed you a lot because you talk about how people really obsess over food. right? And we just become very like, we see good foods and bad foods. And I would have like a cheat day. And like for the whole entire week, I think I didn't have carbs at all. And then that one cheat day, I was able to have it. And then after that, it'll just go into that cycle. And then if my coach removed that cheat, like one of my cheat meals within that cheat day, I'll get so angry. Like I'll be like, why? Like, why would you do that? And that was so bad. Like, and I only took it out on my one of my friends. Like I would snap at her and then she'll be like, you have to relax. And she realized it was because I was hangry and all this prep. And I felt so bad. Like, and she stuck with me the whole entire time. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then as soon as I stepped off stage and I won my pro card, like I don't know what happened, but I just didn't feel it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I just, you accomplish something and you know how sometimes you just get like all that joy, like, oh my God, I did it,
Mhm.
I didn't get that feeling afterwards. Like, you're on cloud nine. You're just like, oh, okay. Like, I think it's just everything just became numb because of how much time I was prepping, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Something that I've found in this journey and just in working in the mental health side of things, which I appreciate, by the way, that you follow me for those sides of things. That's awesome. And for all these years, like that really does mean a lot to me. And I noticed that a lot of times the issues we're facing in our day-to-day life get shoved under the rug or ignored because we're prioritizing this goal so much for competing that we're like, well, I won't address the fact that I'm anxious or that my work is overwhelming or that I'm having a hard time in my relationship. And so these things often get ignored because we're so fixated on the goal. And on one hand, that's beneficial because we end up having a lot of the success. But on the other hand, when we get to that end result, it can be really challenging because all of a sudden it's like, well, now what do I do? Because I'm overwhelmed with all these difficulties and struggles I haven't actually looked at.
That's so true. That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
How
yeah.
did you come to realize that you were like struggling and needed that time away?
Um, I got my pro card afterwards, and then I think that's when everything just started to like come back to realization because at the same time I was getting out of the Marines and I had to make a decision either to stay in San Diego or move back home to New York City. So I said, okay, I've achieved this goal. And then right after that, I stepped into the next one. I'm like, I'm going to take a break because I want to buy a house with my family when I move back to New York. As soon as I stepped off stage, I already had another goal. So that's when I was like, okay, I have to take time off if I want to do this. I need time off because then I'm going to be focused only on that. And then eventually I'll come back to this. But as the time kept going by, I realized like, maybe I should work on my mental health more, be more connected with my family because I've been away from them for 4 years already. And yeah, that's when I decided I'm like, this isn't good for me. And I started to build my relationship again with my best friend. Like we got more like closer, and then I just started to laser focus on my job. And then I was just like, what, I just need time off. And then COVID happened. I was supposed to compete like during the year of COVID, but then
Yeah.
I was supposed to compete March because I was prepping since December of that year. And then like March came along and then, everything just happened. And I'm just like, okay, I can't really compete. So then I took more time off. And then I was just like, then something happened. Um, I broke up with my boyfriend during that time. And it was a really bad time. I had really bad, like, I had suicidal thoughts and it wasn't really good. And I just openly started to talk about this with people because I realized so many people go through it. And that's when I said like competing actually saved my life because I was just like, you know what? My friend was just like, you know what? Why don't we just start prepping? And I was just like, okay, like let's do it. And then she's just like, but my conditions are you can't go crazy like the way you were. I was like, I'm like, okay, we can do that because whatever. I'm doing this for me. You choose to do this. You chose to do all of this. It's You can't go and blame other people. Like, I'm hungry because, and then take it out on other people. No, you can't do that. Like, you chose to do this. Take a step back and breathe. That's what I realized. So
So
this
would you
whole time I was just breathing the whole time. Like, even though like I was like hangry and stuff like that, I was like, I chose to do this. Like, so I was able to control more these preps. Which is, it
That's
was
exactly what I was going to
really,
ask you, was like how you evolved as an athlete to support or cope with it. So it sounds like breathing through it and shifting your perspective to like a choice mentality really helped you. Was there anything else that you did to support making this a better experience?
um I just kept distracting myself with more work. And like, if you just keep like putting more stuff to do on your to-do list, even though I was so tired, like, it still helped me distract my mind from everything. So that's about it. Just literally, sometimes when I realized like I was getting a little bit like on edge, I'll just like take a step back in my mind and just try to literally ground myself, like look around, like see five things, like, the five rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that, like try to ground myself back to the moment and just keep going. So
Did you ever find that like trying to put more on your plate when you weren't actually just grounding yourself and breathing through it, but like when you were trying to put more on your plate to distract yourself, did that ever feel like it was doing more harm than good from like a stress perspective?
yes, yes, but then there would be moments where I would just try to, like, the problem is like I can't sit still with me.
Hmm.
Like, I know that about myself. Whenever I try to sit still, it's just like I start to fidget a lot. I'm like, I need to do something. Like, what am I doing? I need to go.
Yeah.
like, I just like I gotta go and do something, because then I knew I would start snacking on something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing. But I know if I keep going, that's for me, that works. Only when I'm like deep, deep, deep into prep, like I just have to keep going. But like when I'm not, like right now, like I can sit down, relax. Like whenever I have a chance, I would actually sit down and just like watch TV, or just like in the morning now, I actually wake up and stretch and do vacuums, and I actually think for a while, like before I start my day,
Are you
which
in
has
prep right now?
no, I'm off season right now.
So you just really prioritizing like in all seasons, making sure that you're keeping your mind in that grounded state and taking care of your body through that process.
Yes.
I love that. I there's so many directions I'm thinking of going, but what's kind of standing out to me is you had said that competing saved your life twice as you were questioning if you were enough, and you suffered with the mental health related concerns. And I was hoping you could share some of the things you struggled with specifically that you felt bodybuilding and recommitting to the bodybuilding lifestyle supported you through.
So the way that it saved my life is because, you know, I know some people might connect to this. Like, you start to question yourself, like, are you enough? Like when you wake up, you would like question a lot of things, and I would try to get myself out of that state of mind. And then being into prep, you have control over what you eat, what time you train, and your posing. You have control. I had control over that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I messed up a little bit, that'll be on me, and it'll get to my mind a lot. I'm if like people who know me, they know like I'm extremely disciplined when it comes to prepping. Like, it's insane how like everything has to go down to the last T. Like, I would make sure I do everything correctly because I have control over that at the moment. So when I was going through those phases, like really, really low phases, like you said, like you just let everything build up and up and up and up and up. And there's going to be a point where one major event might happen, and then you just explode. And then everything would just like, everything just blacks out in your head. And then like with prepping, like this, like last year, especially after all of that, like I just became so focused on it, but it changed me completely of how to see prep as well. Like, because I was this whole prep last year was just smooth sailing. Like, not as in like like everybody's different with foods and stuff like that. Like there was a point where I was eating like a bunny,
Yeah.
but who doesn't go through that phase? Because I had to lose about like I think when I started prep I was like 150, and then I went down all the way to like 115.
Hmm.
So like obviously like when you first start prepping, like you're gonna eat like a little bunny, like as soon as you start getting closer and closer and closer to show until your metabolism just kicks in. So
Totally.
so oh man, how are we getting to a point to that? I forgot, I blacked out in my head. But
We were talking about the control and discipline to a T and
oh
how
yeah, yeah, yeah.
consistency that.
So like with being in that bad state of mind, like when once like I started to prep, then I realized like my meals are planned throughout the day. My day is planned. Like I like everything planned. Like everything has to go according to plan with when I prep. Like what times I eat, what time I go to the gym, what time like I work around my work schedule and stuff like that. So I have control over that. And then I think it's a sense of control because at the moment I don't have control over my emotions until
Mhm.
eventually I do have control over my emotions because you have everything already organized.
Yes. And you know what? There's a few ways that could be taken. Like someone could hear that and be like, well, not having control over your emotions, like you should manage that first and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like when you change your behaviors and you really start managing your life in such a way that it sets you up for success with the version of you that you want to become, it actually aligns you to that version of you in the present moment. So you build up efficacy and confidence and belief in yourself because every day you're executing on that routine. So it's not only giving you control, but it's giving you confidence and it's giving you congruency. And I think there is sometimes a disconnection where people desire control more than congruency, but it's about utilizing that routine and that structure to support creating congruency. And it sounds like for you were able to gain more control of yourself, your emotions, what you wanted, because you structured your day in such a way to support the competition goal, but it really supported you.
I never saw it like that. you're, you're actually completely right. Like it sounds a lot better when you say it.
I'm I'm like reflecting meaning, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
glad that it resonated.
yeah, like in my head, everything's just like blah, 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 and then you just like made it more full.
That's so cute. Well, thank you for saying that. I'm glad that I could. I know that it's sometimes like we go through those things on our own and it feels like hard to conceptualize. So I'm glad that I could. And as you were talking to, I was thinking about your time in the Marines, and I've heard mixed things about serving in the military. And a lot of people have shared with me that they feel like they lose a lot of their own autonomy or ability to have control in their life because so much is being dictated by their time serving. So, how did your journey through competing maybe mimic the Marines or your time in the Marines, or how did that time in the Marines influence your journey to competing?
So when I was in the Marines, I had to lose weight, like you said in the beginning. Um, I'm trying to form this in my head.
Yeah.
So the being in the Marines does have like in any branch, they do control your time. They do, it just depends where you're stationed at too. So I was in a garrison unit, so meaning like I wasn't able to get deployed, or we were, but it was rare. Some people have like other stations where they're at, like other states, or within that state there's like different bases. They get deployed a lot. But with me, I knew I was gonna be there. But like competing and being inside, it was like a roller coaster. Like you don't know what time you're gonna get in, you don't know what time you're gonna come out, you don't know if you have to work on the weekends, you don't know if someone messes up and then like you have to stay there longer, you know? So with me, when I was in, I would literally be at the gym at 4 a.m. because I knew the day before what time we had to be in formation to like go PT, or like I would always do like let's say that I had to go do my we had to do like military training. They'll be like, oh, you have to be here by 06. And then I'll literally do my fasted cardio by 4 a.m. and then eat and then go train with the Marines. And then like afterwards, like work all day and then be like, oh my God, please let me get out on time. Please let me get out on time so I can go train.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it has its ups and downs, like but it depends on how much you're committed to it. Like I've seen people are that are DIs, like drill instructors. They have no time whatsoever. Like they work 7 days a week, and I think they only have like 2 weeks off after like 3 months, and they still do it. Like they go early and during their lunch breaks, they go do their whatever they have to do, and whatever moment that they have off, like they go and they train. So again, it depends where you're stationed at. It depends who's in command. All of that just varies. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's super interesting. And do you feel that that at all like influenced your desire to compete or to like have this lifestyle for yourself?
Um, well, when I went into the Marines, I was overweight. No, when I was trying to join the Marines, I was overweight, so I had to lose weight. And then as soon as I lost the weight, I was able to join the Marines. And then when I was in the Marines, I went back up the weight. And then I started I had to lose the weight to in an unhealthy way. And then I just became obsessed with that, the way that I was losing that weight. And then I was like, this isn't the way that I should be doing it because I was eating like 3 times a day, like tuna salads. And I was just like, okay, I don't think this is the right way to do it. And then that's when I found a coach. And then I was just like, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding. I didn't even know this existed.
Wow.
And then I was just like, luckily she was a pro and I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And she was prepping me. And then she's like, why don't you want to compete? And I'm just like, I don't know, like, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like, well, this is it. You should come to a show one day. And I'm just like, okay. I went there and I was just like, wow,
Oh,
this
that's
is so
awesome.
cool. And then we did it really healthy, and she got me to bulking because I became really anorexic. I
Yeah.
like I was just skin and bones, and then she's just like, all right, let's eat this, and I was just like, okay. And then we started to bulk, and then we had to, as soon as I was like, all right, let's compete, like let's just do it. I'm bored, like I just don't want to like do lifestyle. Let's compete, let's do a challenge. So then we did it.
Wow. And then when did you realize you wanted to go further in this sport and compete to really be competitive?
um so my first show ever, I got last place. And
Mm-hmm.
ever since that, I was just like, I wanna do better. I wanna know how far I can go with my body. I wanna know, like, I wanna see how much I became really, like, I guess obsessed with my transformation every single time. Like, not obsessed, that's a bad word. um I just like how my body just transformed after every show. Even now, like this past year, like it was just amazing how much your body just keeps changing and changing and changing. And it's just like,
Yes.
wow, like that's me, like damn. And then it was more like, it wasn't more like trying to place higher. It was just like how much your body just transformed from show. Like you never want to go backwards. You always want to keep going forward.
Absolutely. That's such a great point because sometimes I think people perceive it as a bad thing to want to keep pushing forward and achieving more, but you channeled the energy that felt good of pushing and striving for more that was unfortunately manifesting in negative ways with the anorexic tendencies. You channeled that energy to actually growth and improvement. And I think that's a really positive thing that can come from bodybuilding that oftentimes does get forgotten.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing that you were able to do that for yourself. And you did evolve a lot from when you started to 2022, and you brought a much improved package. And of course, the division evolved a lot from when you won your pro card to when you started competing as a pro. So when you came back to the journey of competing and recommitting to a prep, I know that can be difficult because sometimes we forget how hard prep can be at times, or how intense it can be. And I know you made that commitment to not like go crazy in the way that you had before, as you said. So what, like, did you have a hard time adapting to being on prep again? Or when did it ever hit you like, oh shoot, I am in prep and this is difficult, or anything like that?
Honestly, no. I think it's because it's been 5 years and you know, a long time has passed and I forgot the feeling of what it feels like to be on prep.
Mhm.
So I think like during that like last month, that's the hardest push ever. um I was feeling it there, but at the same time I was so excited because it was like, girl, it's been 5 years. You're about to go on stage. Like it's about to go down. I was
Yes.
so excited. Like I was tired, but at the same time, I was like so excited. And like I think with the support that I have too, it was just until today, like every show, like I'm extremely tired every single show, but like the support that I've had, it was amazing this past year too. Like my coach, my best friend, she would be on FaceTime with me every single morning. Like it's our routine. Like from it's already been like, I don't know, 2 years. It's our routine to always be on FaceTime. So her being on FaceTime with me just like helped me every single morning. My mom, I would like call her constantly and she'll just like be on the phone with me if I'm on a cardio, like or anything like that. I'd be
Oh.
like, Mom, I can't do this anymore. She's like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. Only a few more. I'm like, Mom, I'm so tired. She's like, how long more do you have on cardio? I'm like, 1 hour.
Oh, I love that.
She'll be like, it's okay, Mija, you got this. But like it's nice how it's been a long time since I prep, but my mom's been always there for me with preps and she gets it. Like it's not like some other people will be like, well, you don't have to do this. Like you can just get off. Like, no. My mom's just like, you got this, you gotta keep going, you got this.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's so cool that you have her support.
yeah. So she like understands completely. Like when even when we go to parties, like I'm still tired, but like I take all my meals because it's a family party and it's a family get together. I think so long that I've been prepping my meals. Like I take my meals everywhere because like even off like when I took those 5 years off, I would still take my meals everywhere because it's a lifestyle now. It's not like because I'm prepping. It's just like a lifestyle. Like if during those 5 years, like if I wanted to eat that, I would eat it. But at the same time, it was just like, what if, but like I don't want to get hangry because my body's already so used to eating like 6 times a day. So I would just take my meals with me that everybody already, my family already got used to that in parties and stuff like that. And then like it's not like I would not enjoy myself if I wanted to eat it, I would eat it. But at the same time, I was like, I'm hungry 3 hours later. And the parties would be like about 6 to 7 hours long.
Yeah, seriously. I think it's like you gotta find that like where your boundaries are there.
Yeah. So it's just like I would stay there. Like the party would be like till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm Hispanic, so everybody knows how long everybody's drunk, and I'm just like there. I'm like, man, I'm hungry.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure that was a difficult or different for you.
Yeah, but I mean, the good thing is that my family was very supportive and they understood. Like they wouldn't come up to you and be like, "Why are you eating that?" Like, no, they would just like be like,
Yeah.
I would enjoy myself. We would all be talking and laughing, and they'll be okay with it. Even like during this year's prep, like I would take my meals everywhere with me, and they would get it. Like right now, like oh yeah, when during my prep season, like when I was on season, I would work in a truck, and then I have the portable heater, and I'll take that everywhere, and I'll literally like scarf down my food before our customer comes on into the truck. So yeah,
That's awesome that you're able to do that for yourself and commit to it. And sometimes that really is just how it is. We got to make it work with what we got and what the demands are in our life. And I think that helps us to really show up for ourselves when things are harder on a mental level too, like if we do get challenged with those thoughts. And I'm glad to hear you have your family support, but I know that in your past you didn't always have the support of significant others. So could you maybe talk about how that came up and how that influenced your view on relationships and dating within competing?
For me personally, it's hard to date while you compete, because like I said, I was married. I was married before, and it wasn't that great because like it went worse. Like it's not competing's fault, but like it went worse when like all the doors open there when one of my friends, she posted a picture of us in our bikinis and we were doing like a butt pose, like a side butt pose.
Uh-huh.
And I've never done that before because I don't know, it was my first time competing. That was my first time ever posting anything with in a bikini like that. And she posted it, sorry. And
Yeah.
then like me and my ex started to argue a lot. He's like, "How could you put that on the internet?" I was like, "It wasn't me. Like it was her. Like this is part of it. Like this is you post like I post my glutes, but people don't people who don't compete only see it as an ass. You know, they don't
Exactly.
they don't see the glute definition. Like when I look at somebody's glutes, I like everything just breaks down in your head. Even like when
Yes.
you look at a plate of food, right? Like everything just breaks down. Like here's the carbs, here's the fats, here's the protein, here's the
Mhm.
fiber. Like that's how I see people even on when they post something on Instagram. But then like with someone like who like when with just the past people that I was with, it's different. Like, okay, people are gonna like that just because that's your ass. I'm like, no, that's not my purpose. Like,
Exactly.
I'm posting this for athletes to see. Like if you're athletic, you'll see the hamstring, the glutes, the tie-ins, the upper glute, your back, your shoulders, your delts. That's what you see. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the past two people that I was with, it was just they didn't know anything about competing. They didn't know anything about bodybuilding or anything like that. So it was hard because yeah, that my divorce was everything just went AWOL like that because of that butt pose that she
Wow.
posted. And then everything just started to go downhill and then it led to a divorce. It was very toxic relationship and that ended bad. And then I guess that's when I started to dedicate myself more into competing, like a lot more. And I fell in love with the sport.
Mm.
And it was something really nice again because you're able to have control over everything there. And yeah, I think compete like when I competed it like I did go through like the phases of like missing them. You have those phases where you just
Yeah.
miss them a lot. Like, but then like when I was able to like sit down and be like, why are you crying? Like, do you miss them or do you miss the idea of them? Because these weren't
Mm.
good relationships. So you were able to like, I was able to separate it and then you're back into your routine again. But then like my past relationship, the current one that I just was in, it was like he would want to go out to drink and do all these things and not all these things, but like go out to bars, sit down, and I'm not I don't I didn't want to I don't like drinking. Well, I love drinking, but the problem with me is that I don't drink just to get tipsy. I like this is a Marine Corps thing. If anybody's out
Mhm.
in the Marines, they would understand. I would drink to get drunk. Like once I take a sip, like that's it. Let's do this. Like we're all in or nothing. So that's why I don't like to go out to drink because then when I go out to drink it's like with a purpose.
Yeah.
So that wasn't good for me. So I would just be like, I don't want to go out to drink. Be like, why? Because you're prepping. I'm like, no, because it just, once I drink, like it's gonna go. Like, so, and then it was also hard because when we would live together, it'll be like every single day he would order either fast food, pizza, burger. I don't mind that, but it's just like I didn't mind the smell, nothing like that. It's just like that's not me. Like I like to eat clean too. Like, but it was every single day. Wings, pizza, Wendy's. Like he was like, don't you get tired of eating the same food every day? Like, no, I like what I eat. Like I like this. But
Absolutely.
it was hard to like try to if they don't want to like learn about it and like try to like support you with it. Let me put it like this. The person that you're with is supposed to be your number one fan, you know, always rooting for you, always supporting you, always like helping you with all this. I didn't feel that when we were together. Like they'll be like, you can do this. Like it's okay to skip the gym one day. And this is when I was prepping, like before COVID happened. So it was hard to be with someone that didn't really understand. And you tried your best to like explain. I like try to show to them and stuff like that, but you can tell that they were not interested in it.
Hmm.
So maybe if you're with somebody like who would like even though they don't understand it, but they would try to see it from your eyes and like be your supporter and be there for you and help you with all this, it'll be different. I don't know.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing all of that and your background and history and how that showed up in relationships because I'm sure there's people listening who are currently going through that. And sometimes you can try your best to communicate with others. And, something I found is it can be hard to communicate with people who don't compete about the lifestyle because they'll think it's cool and great and inspiring and oh it's so awesome that you do that and wow that's amazing, so like that's how it initially can start, but then when
Yes.
you're getting to know them and you choose to not make dinner dates or not say I don't drink or I don't do this, then they start to question it, and I think that's why it's so important to find someone who, whether they compete or not, someone who genuinely respects the lifestyle, not just, I think it's cool and you're an inspiration and you have a nice body and you kill it in the gym, but someone who's going to see the requirements between those things that sometimes require us to not say yes to what normal dates would be. As a listener of Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast, you can receive 20% off at protanusa.com by using the code Celeste at checkout.
Yeah. And like I like take you out to like, hey, let's go to the park and then you bring your meals and I'll order something. I'll be like, okay, let's do that.
Exactly. That's so
Yeah.
much more respectful of a competitor, and the same thing too, like when we're in an improvement season, like I think it's important for our, like if we're in a relationship, our partner needs to also be willing to like see that okay maybe now I have more flexibility, I have more freedom, so don't make me feel bad for making choices that are now different than prep, like now I'd like to go out or maybe things will change, so someone has to be very flexible, I think, to be with a competitor and understanding of like developing a life and a love that is, not just about date nights that revolve around food or drinking.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that. Like, um, this past weekend, like right now, I'm like starting to go out with my family more because my family is like everything for me. So, um, I think yeah, last Saturday I was just like I texted my niece. I'm like, dude, you want to go get pizza? She's like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go, let's go. So it's like those
Yeah.
moments. I'm like, I can actually have cheese now instead of like, hey, you can only eat like here's 100 more grams of rice, you know. And I'm like, let's go out. Like I'm able to like rebuild those like memories and bonds because now I'm not on prep, you know, with my family. Like I want to create those moments with them now that I have the opportunity again. And thankfully, like my family they're stuck with me. But but like they enjoy that. Like they're like, okay, let's go out to eat. Like, yeah, let's go get Korean barbecue. I'm like, yo, I'm down. Like,
Yeah.
and it's nice because like this weekend, I'm just like, Mama, we want to go get burgers. She's like, yeah, yeah, because they're leaving, so it's supposed to be me and you. I'm like, yes.
Aw. I love that so much. Like there's something so freeing, and it's not like we see ourselves necessarily as restricted in prep, because that's a choice and we're blessed to choose that, like we started this conversation with. But also like in an improvement season, being able to have the freedom in your mind to allow yourself to engage in those experiences is really, really important. And I think sometimes, well, I know because I work with a lot of them, but like competitors get stuck in that, like, I can't trust myself and I can't have that, or it turns into a binge, kind of like when you used to have your cheat day mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to just be spontaneous, or like when I travel and I go visit my family, it's nice that I can like guesstimate tracks sometimes in improvement season, or and they know I can always bring my own stuff. Or if I want to have the pizza, I'll have the pizza. And I think that's important for competitors to hear from someone like yourself who's been in it for a long time, someone like myself who's been in it for a long time. It's like you can get to that point where it's really your lifestyle, but it is so much more helpful, of course, when there's people in your life who understand that and want to share that with you.
Yes, yes. I think you should always have that support behind you and people who understand. Like, and honestly, some people just have to take out the time and try to explain it to the families that they're really close to, and just be like, hey, this is what's going on and stuff like that. Like, it took me this long. Like, this is the first off season that I don't like say I can't eat that. Like, I don't know, this or that. Like, am I sure? Like, oh, blah blah blah. This is the first off season ever where I'm just like, I can eat that. Like, it's okay, you know? Like, this is like it's different. This off season is completely different than all my other ones. Like, I when I eat that piece, it's not like I'm gonna binge it. Like, no, like I get to have it. I'm gonna be until I'm full. Why? Because it's not like I starve myself all day just because I know I'm gonna have that pizza later on. No, I eat all my normal meals, and whatever meal that one is, it's gonna be it. And I'm still gonna go home and afterwards, and if I have one more meal, I'm still gonna eat that last meal.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And now, in your experiences from the past, I mean, you endured a divorce that it sounds like it was messy towards the end and not something that, you maybe expected or knew about. When you had decided to compete and get into it, was he not aware of like the way that the lifestyle was? Like, what was his opinion on it prior to you like posting a photo like that, or him realizing like, yeah, you're going to be being judged on your physique, which to the outside eye that doesn't know it might look one way, but to those who know it, it's obviously about the aesthetic.
I think he really didn't know anything about it because me and him went into it mind blank.
Mm,
So um we really didn't do our research on it before that. And like I was going to shows, and this was back in 2014. And I just I don't think we were just prepared for that at that moment. And like it's one messed up thing I remember, like it's still in my brain. It's
mhm.
just like I liked you more when you're fatter than what you look like now. I was just like, because you don't have the attention that you used to, like compared to now. I was like, that's pretty fucked up. Like, how could you
Mm,
say that to me? Like, I'm going healthier. Like, I'm doing something healthier for me. Like, you know, it's just
mhm.
we weren't in the really good state of mind. Yeah. But
Yeah.
he was a football player. So it was just like, so you should know like some of this. I mean, honestly, this is the only sport I've ever liked, ever. Like this is the only sport like I know everything, almost everything about, because you're still learning. The sport is nice that you're still learning as you keep going because bikini has evolved. Everything just keeps evolving.
Exactly. It's always, always evolving, and we have to be able to evolve with it, as do, of course, the people in our life. And I think you've done a really great job. I mean, you came back and you freaking killed it when you returned. And I think it'd be awesome to hear more about your journey back to the stage and how you knew you were going to bring something like better, and if you even had any expectations coming back.
Um, I honestly, like my first show, I was just like, when I stepped on stage, I honestly just thought, this is amazing. Like, I'm back. Like, it's my first show ever. It doesn't matter the placing. Honestly, in my head, I really didn't care about my placing, even until today. Like, I go on stage, I know I did what I could do. Every single time I would ask the judges, what should we do next? Like, me and my coach. And we always brought exactly what they wanted. But like the first time ever, I'm just like, I'm here. I did it. You know, you go on stage and you just let everything out. Like, all the work is done. Everything is done. And I did not expect 10th place that show. Like, I was like, really? Me? Like, my jaw dropped, and I was just like, oh my God. After I got off stage, I looked at my coach and I'm like, dude. She's like, dude.
Aw.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But coming back, it was amazing. Like, I just, it's the first show ever. Like, it's literally, I felt like the same exact time, like the same, I felt the same as I did my first show ever. Because it
Wow.
was a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, and you got a little bit of that ring rust, I think, when you step back on the stage for the first time. It's like, oh my gosh, like there's a stage under my feet, there's judges in front of me, like all this is happening at once.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was shaking so much. I was just like, I feel like this is my first time ever.
That's super, super cute. I know that they like gave you feedback too, like that they could see a little bit with the posing, but I bet it wasn't as bad as it felt to you. You know how it just feels like we're shaking so much, but it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, like you feel it. Like, I'm like, my glutes are shaking. My glutes are shaking.
Yes. Oh, that's honestly the worst because you're like, I don't want them to think I'm not conditioned, but I'm shaking.
They're jiggling. They don't like
I
that.
know, exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's too funny. So you made it, you got your 10th place. That's freaking cool, especially at your pro debut. You and your coach were super stoked. Now, how did this prep differ from preps prior to it?
Um, Girl, it's been a long time, like 5 years. Like, I think I just don't remember. Like, I think this prep was actually my first time ever prepping in New York City with my family around.
Hmm,
I
that's
think that's a big change, because every single time, like when I was prepping for a show back then, I was living in San Diego and I was by myself, and I didn't have nobody during that time, so I was always alone.
hmm.
And or either like with my military friends or at work, or like I would see people at the gym, like my friends there, but like I had no family. Like, yeah. But here, this was the first prep my family's ever seen me go through in front of them. And like actually have my mom be in front of me too. So I think that's what really helped a lot. And I was on FaceTime a lot with my coach. So
Oh, yes. I definitely want to talk with you about your coach because I know you guys have a special relationship, but I am curious if prepping around family versus alone maybe transformed the awareness or the commitment to monitoring your moods and your energy levels.
um yes, like I was able to control it more. And then like every single time like I would see my family, I would be like, because the problem with me is also, it's like I'm customer service. So I always have to uh treat clients very friendly because it's part of my job, you know? So I would be able to control it there. And then also when I would go to work, my family, I would just look at them, and I wouldn't have to like fake anything with them. I would just look at them and they'd be like, you tired? I'm like, no, I'm hungry. So they would try to like make jokes, or try to like, when they saw that I was really tired, they'll be like, hey, like just sit down and relax. I'll do it for you right now. And I'm like, okay. So like they would help me a lot, and they would understand like I would wake up early and do cardio, fasted cardio, and then go to the gym and do post cardio. So they would understand all of that, thankfully.
Mm.
So they like they knew like every single time I was like during peak week or like my first show ever, like the 3 weeks before, like three, like kind of like a month, they start to realize like it got like more down. So like my energy levels were just like go down, 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 and they can tell. And I guess going to hug my mom, she was just like, she just absorbed that energy. And I was just like, oh my God, this feels so nice.
I love
So,
that. It's cool to have, like, honestly, too, like you said, your family is everything. So I imagine it's very life-giving, like in those moments of difficulty, to know you could come home and your family would be there. Like, I don't have my mom anymore, but I remember a hug from her could just change my day and like
mhm.
recharge me, or just give me like the place I needed to rest again, you know? And when I see my family now, I feel so good because it's just life-giving. So did you have those types of experiences where you're like, wow, I'm surrounded by these people who love and care about me and that keeps me going?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I live alone, but I live 5 minutes from my family. So,
Oh,
so like I would pull up there and then I'll be so tired. I'm like, I just really don't want to go inside. I really don't want to go inside. But then I will go inside and it'll just like liven me up. I don't know. It's
yeah.
just like even my niece's energy, like she's 13 and then she'll look at me and then we'll start talking and it's just like she just absorbed I will absorb her like energy and I'll be like, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I should have asked you this and I didn't, but like, what did your life look like in those 5 years off? Like, were you spending a lot more time with family? Were you focusing on like business? Were you still living the lifestyle? What did that look like?
Um, I was still living like a lifestyle like this because in my mind I was trying I wanted to compete again, but then at the same time I'm like no, 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 like I need at least 2 years off and I would just then everything just like I start to focus more on my career. I start to work like a what is it called?
A nine to
Uh,
five?
yeah, there you go, a 9 to 5 job. And I was just focused on that, but I would still like go to the gym. I'll still make the gym my priority, but like nutrition was just like, yeah, here and there. But I would still be like carrying my meals. And then uh I set like I said, we set goals where I just wanted to buy a house with my family and we did
Yeah.
that. And then after that, I just started to focus more on my job. And then I got a boyfriend. And then like when you have a boyfriend, like some people know that when you have a boyfriend, you kind of want to enjoy it. But then it was just like I lost myself there too, because then
Mhm.
I did tell myself I wanted to compete again, but it was just like not happening because then COVID happened and all of this happened. And then I just lost myself. And then I like the year that I competed, I realized like competing is part of me. Like when I gave that up, I gave it up because I wasn't normal because I was dating normal people. So it was just like I'm not normal if I do all of this. But
Yeah.
then I got into that mentality and I was just like, maybe I should try to get out from doing all of this. But it's just like I love it. Like I still did it like off season. Like I would take like my stuff or anything like that. Like I'll take a protein bar if I know we weren't gonna eat for a while. Cause listen, my family eats only twice a day. They would
Oh
eat
my
like a
gosh.
big ass breakfast and then like 7 hours later they would have a big dinner and they would all just be like cranky and I'd be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. So it's just like when I got back to competing, I'm like, this is part of me. Like, this is me. I love doing this. Like, I I lost myself by not doing this. And then when I reconnected with all this, and then I hit that stage again, I was like, wow, this is me. Like, I love it. Even though, like, there's moments where you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. But then you're just like, okay, we can do it.
Totally. There's times where it's really hard and we question like, what am I really doing all this for? But then we keep going, we keep committing, and it's very, very rewarding. And I think it's cool that even in that time away, you were still living the lifestyle just in more of like a lifestyle focused way. And you kind of knew you wanted to compete, but you weren't sure. And there were life changes and you achieved a lot of other goals, which is cool. Now, you said you bought a house with your family, but I hear that you're living by yourself. So what's maybe changed since then?
Oh, we bought a house then. We bought another one. And
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, so now we rent that one out that we bought, but then they moved into the other one that they bought, and then they bought another one, and then I just moved to my dad's apartment because this is where the business is mainly at because there's an office literally right in the backyard.
Beautiful.
And so I live here by myself, and then they live there, and then yeah.
I
So
love that so much. Let's talk about your daily life because this is something I didn't know about you and I think it'd be really cool for people to know. So, can you tell us about like all the types of work that you do in the business you started?
yeah, so I own a taxi business where I rent out cabs. So like I was telling you before, um, in New York City, you can't just become an Uber driver or a taxi driver like in other states. And here in New York City, you have to have like the license plate for a cab, which starts with a T and certain numbers and C at the end. And um, then you have to have the registration, the diamond. There's like a whole list of things that you have to do in order to become a cab driver, to have a taxi.
Hmm.
And then within that taxi, the taxi itself can go into Uber or they can work in like dispatches or anything like that. So I have all of that ready for a cab driver. So the driver would come to me and be like, "Hey, I want to rent a car." And I'm like, "Okay, do you have both licenses, like your actual driver's license and the driver's license to be a taxi driver in New York City?" So then I would look it up in the system and they'll have to be put into my insurance. And then I give them the car itself, and then they go off and they either work for Uber, Lyft, or they work for a dispatch. It's up to them. But I'm in charge of the mechanical work. I'm in charge of the all the documents. I'm in charge of uh, basically everything of the car and make sure like if they get into a car accident, they have to call me right away. So I have two phones. I have my work phone and I have my main phone. So my work phone is always on, and then my main phone is just like it's on vibration because my work phone is already too much for me.
I can
But
only imagine. How many cabs do you have?
I have 36.
Whoa,
So
girl, that's awesome.
thank you. So like here in New York, they stopped giving out the license to become a cab driver, not like the plate itself. They stopped giving it out for 5 years. So I have the demand because
Hell yeah.
many people want to be taxi drivers in New York City. So if everybody becomes a taxi driver, there won't be no work.
Mm,
So because like everybody just wants because when you come to New York, everything's like cabs, cabs, cabs everywhere. Because it's either
yeah,
cabs or subways. So if you keep giving out like plates, like the license plates to people, maybe all of New York City will be cab drivers. Like
interesting.
even Uber has a wait list for drivers.
Wow. So you've really created a cool business for yourself there and you set yourself apart in such a way where even when the change happened in the state, you were still able to run your business and support your own financial needs and also those of others who were interested.
Yes. So I actually bought this company off of my dad when
Wow.
after COVID. So because I was saving up money again, but then I decided to just purchase this instead of purchasing another house. So
Wow. Do you feel
yes,
like it was a smart investment for you?
mentally no, but
Why
I'm
is
just
that?
because it was just like so much anxiety and like when you like for me when I start something new, I get so much anxiety because it's just like something new. You don't know what's going on. Like
Yeah,
I've
true.
been
It's such an adjustment.
yeah, so I've been with this business already for 2 years, and it's like I'm starting to get the hang of things. Like everything's coming along. Like I've made so much improvement since then. So yeah. And I'm starting to know more about cars, and that's surprising. Like when I go on a car now, I'm like, your alternator is bad. We have to change it. Like automatically in my head, I'm like, damn. How did I
That's
know
so
that?
funny. Oh, I love that. So you really just immersed yourself into it, and now you obviously think differently. And that's just so cool that you were saving up and you knew you were going to make an investment. And it sounds like this was your dad's company, and you saw an opportunity to buy it. And I think that that's really, really cool. And how was the transition from his ownership to yours?
Um, it was not so smooth.
Oh, okay.
uh, well, it was and it wasn't. Like, if you know how sometimes it's just family businesses don't really go well.
Mm.
But then eventually, like, I'm not really close to my dad compared to my mom. They're not together. So, like, me and my mom are just very connected. Like, she's my soulmate. But
Oh,
with my dad, it's kind of different. But like, we went to like how we did it was we went to like someone who wanted to buy the business, and I went with him to the meeting, and I saw how much they offered him, and then I counter offered. Like as soon as we went back home, I was just like, all right, I'll give you this much, and then he'll be like, and then that's when we came to an agreement. So that was smooth. But like when I started to learn about it, he kind of left and I was all by myself and I'm like, what am I supposed to do now?
yeah.
So like I had my brother, well, my brother-in-law, like he's really my brother because I've known him since I was 8, because him and my sister have been together since they were 14.
Oh,
So yeah, they're like a penguin love. Like they fell in love and they never went out with anybody else.
I
So
love that.
yeah, me too. I'm jealous of her. I want to punch her in the face all the time, but I'm like, must be nice.
Oh,
But like, yeah. So he helped me through all that. My whole family, like here, like my mom, my sisters, they all like helped me. And then at the same time, I was working a 9 to 5 job and I was doing this because, when every business starts, you start to like get yourself a little bit more into that to try to make the company succeed. So
yeah.
I just kept going with the same 9 to 5 job, and then I was working that. So like it was really stressful. And then finally when I was so scared to quit like a steady job in order for me to do this, like commit myself to the business. And I was just like, okay, I gotta do it because it's too much for me right now. Like it's just like I have this and this and this and too much. And then my family's trying to help me at the same time, but they have their own business. And it was just like, damn, like so when I quit, everything started to fall in a little bit more and I started to get myself more organized. I also work in the mechanic shop, which is my family's mechanic shop. So I
Mhm.
help them out there whenever I have the chance. Like I go there Saturdays so they can go spend time with their kids, or like uh before I got this current business that we're working or that I'm doing currently, I would work there from like 1 to 7 p.m. and then my sister would go home around like 4 because she was the owner there. She is the owner there. She'll go home at 4 and go pick up her kids, and then I'll stay there like until closing by myself because it gets really busy. But
Wow.
now, yeah, but now like I work in a truck with Mac Tools truck. So I work there from 8:30 until I don't know what time. Sometimes like we get out at 5:30, sometimes we get out at 7:30, sometimes we get out at no later than 4:30. Like it varies on how the clients, like sometimes they get into the truck and they just stay there the whole entire time and then delays us more with our next stop.
Hmm.
So that's another company that we're working on, but we're slowly progressing, helping out families like start their business and stuff like that. But
That's
thankfully,
so
like my business runs by itself, like not really by itself, but like I still get phone calls. I'm still up to date. Like I would come home and then I'll do my job, like my part, make sure everybody's paying on time, update my system, make sure like I'm on point with like all my documents, and then is the next day.
that is amazing. It's really cool that you're doing all of this, and it sounds like you came from a family that wanted to build a legacy.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, like the reason why we work so hard is because we weren't raised with a lot. Like we would live in a 1 bedroom apartment and there'll be like about 7 of us in a room.
Mm.
So growing up, like my mom, she was a single parent. So we knew what it was like to beg, like to not go with food sometimes. Like my mom would try her best. I barely saw my mom growing up because she would be
Mhm.
working really hard. So right now, I would do anything for her. because she deserves everything. So now we're
Mm.
working hard, all of us together as a family, to be good and never take a step back to where we used to be.
Wow. Would you say that's like your motivating factor or your why?
Wow, that's deep. I never thought.
That
My
is
mom,
deep.
yeah, like, yeah, wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I cannot imagine growing up that way, never seeing your mom, and then you guys have obviously become like soulmates and you want to do anything and everything for your family and for her and never go back to where you once were, which I think is just a really cool perspective because of everything you've been able to achieve and accomplish, even coming from what maybe to others would be described as nothing, but to you it was something, and it was something that sparked into more and more over time.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's just that we always want to keep striving no matter what. Like we just want to keep like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And one thing that I love about us is that no matter what, we're always together. Like let's say that we're going to start a new business, right? Like for example, when I took over this business, my sister said, like, if something goes bad, you would always have us. Like if you go in debt, like you would always have us. Like we have family meetings where we're literally we just had a family meeting last week, and we all try to like say like what's going on, you know do you need help, and we also try to help everybody who needs help. So the way that we think is like we try to give too, because we know how hard it is, but we try to do it within our family as well.
That's so beautiful. I just absolutely admire and love that how you guys have stuck together through it all.
Yeah, it's hard. My mom is the glue.
Hmm. What do you think is maybe a trait of hers or qualities of hers that has allowed her to be that glue?
She's very loving.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think she's also very giving, because we realized like even though when we were growing up, we saw even though she had nothing, she would still try her best to go above and beyond. Like for instance, when my aunts would come here, like they came here, she we literally slept with them, and either we had a really tiny space, but we all stayed together. Like she would just give like, it's okay, you can sleep with us here until you get adjusted and stuff like that. Like I
Hmm.
think growing up seeing her do all of that, like she's a very giving person. Even though we don't have nothing, she still like tried.
Wow, I love that. Strong woman. Raised
Yeah.
another strong woman.
Women, because my sisters too.
Oh, how old are your sisters?
One's 34 and the other one's 35. I'm the
And how
baby.
you're the baby. Okay, I was like, I think I remember a post of yours. You were younger than that. So, oh, that's awesome. Well, I just absolutely adore that. And I think your relationship with your mom just sounds so special and with your family as a whole. And I'm glad you get to be near them. And I know that another relationship in your life that feels like family is the one you have with your coach. So, what is it like to work with a coach who really doubles as your best friend and like a sister to you?
Always hard. No, I'm kidding. It's uh well, like we keep it separate. Like whenever she's my friend when we're on FaceTime, but she's my coach whenever I send her check-ins and stuff like that. So like when I'm on cardio or crying or something like that, she's my friend. She's like, you got this, you got this. I'm like, yeah, I do, I know. So we keep that separate. So it's been years. It's been since like 2016 that we 17, 16, 16 that we've been friends. And she's like, I don't want you to complain when we're on prep, because that was her conditions. Like, if you want me to
Yeah.
prep you, I'm not you. You can't be the way that you were. You can't complain. You just don't think, just do. That's my like quote every single time. Getting on the treadmill, getting on any cardio machine, don't think, just do. Just go, just do it. Like get done. Like
Mm.
go to workout, like when you're on peak week and you're like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do it. Like just don't think, just do it, because you're wasting your time by thinking about it. So yeah.
How is
We just
she like
huh?
as a best how is she as a best friend in contrast to being your coach? Like what do those two roles in your life look like?
She's It's like we're on FaceTime. She's like my company. We're on FaceTime and we don't have to talk. Like it's
Yeah.
that kind of connection. Like we're literally like she's about to call me like 6:30 because she's gonna get off work. But um she'll be fine without me for a few minutes. But like I would wake her up. I'm her alarm clock in the morning. So like because it's a 3 hour difference. So I'll wake her up for her to go to school on time. So that's our connection. Like, and I'll be like, come on, Tracy, you have to get up. We have to go to work. We have to go to work. We have to do this. Did you take your fat burner? She's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like, it's been like that for quite a few years. And it's very beautiful. Like, she's not, she already even knows my facial expressions. Like, when I do a certain thing, she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, what do you mean what's wrong? I see your face. Like, it's just automatic. Like, even the way
Oh.
that down to the way that we text, down to everything like that. Even like, yeah, I can message her like, hey, she's like, well, what do you, I text her, I'm like, do you think I should have pizza or burger today? She's like, I don't know, probably pizza. Like, she's not like that coach. Like, you can't have that. Like, like,
Yeah.
we would literally, like, after my show, she'd be like, you want to snack something? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like, she wouldn't be like, you can't do that. I'm your coach. Like, no, you can't have that. No, like she's like, you're the person that actually listens down to the T. Like you would never cheat. Like so,
Yeah.
so like I'm comfortable with her. Like I would go out to eat and I would feel comfortable eating around her. Like it's not like, you're my coach. Like, should I be careful what I eat? No, like she'll be like, you want to go? I'm like, sure. And then I can text her like about like, hey, I really want freaking watermelon right now. And she'll be like, yeah, me too. Like we should go get some. I'm like,
Oh.
and then like the best thing about her is like I competed in Spain, right? And it's one of my favorite memories too with her. I have like a lot of memories with her. It's been a lot of years, but this is
Yeah.
one of the top memories. I competed in Spain. I was by myself. No, 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 in Argentina. And I was by myself in Argentina. And I didn't have nobody to talk to in Argentina. So then like she was on FaceTime with me since the moment I got off stage. And then we went on a date together. Like I was on FaceTime with her. She's like, so where we're gonna go to eat? I'm like, I was thinking this burger place, the same one that I went to last time, but this time I'm gonna add cheese to it. She's like, yeah, yeah, let's go together. And she literally like
Oh.
she would be eating with me over FaceTime and we'd just be talking and like bullshitting the whole entire time. And it's just like nice because it's like that connection, like it's not just like you're my coach. Like it's just like it's a big friendship. Like she's my sister. Like I tell everybody she's my sister. Even she tells everybody she's my sister. Like
I was convinced, like when you said it was your sister's company, I was like, wait, I'm confused. Because I was like, the last name changed, but I don't remember. That's
yeah,
adorable.
so like my mom, whenever we're on FaceTime, like we're on FaceTime even when like we're riding cars, she'll be in the car ride with me and my mom. So
No.
like I'll be in the car ride with her and her husband or wherever she's at. She's at the gym doing cardio and I'm like here. I'm like, dude, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm about to go to sleep. She's like, yeah, just be on FaceTime with me. I'm on cardio right now.
That's so awesome.
So it's like it's we distinct everything. Like I sent her my check-ins and then it'll just be there and like she'll randomly ask me like, how do you feel on prep? I'm like, I'm good. Are you happy? I'm like, yeah. And then like I have my mental breakdowns with her too over FaceTime and she'll be like, you're okay. You're good. You can vent to me.
Aw.
And then she's like, how you feel about your coach? I'm like, I fucking hate her right now. She's not feeding me. She's like, what you talking about? She's pretty awesome.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, well, I think that's a really special relationship and awesome that you guys have been able to maintain like a coach relationship, but also a friendship, sisterhood, and I think it takes a special type of person to have that level of like commitment and awareness for you as a friend and as a client.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mhm.
And how did you connect with her in the first place?
Oh, with my old coach, my first coach ever, I was actually one day out from a show. It was the Excalibur show in December. And I was sitting down watching the Food Network channel. I have no idea why, but until today, I like watching like the Food Network channel, whatever's going on while I'm prepping. I think it's beautiful. Like it just calms me down. Some people think I'm
Mhm.
crazy for doing that, but like I'm just like, we're gonna watch Kitchen Nightmares or we're gonna watch Master Chef or anything like that. Just like, wow. So I
Oh,
was watching that and she came in and she was a posing client for my coach. And I was watching that. She sits down next to me. She's like, why are you watching this? And you're one day out. She's like, you crazy. I'm like, yeah, I know. And then she's like, well, I'm Tracy. I'm like, oh, I'm Chantel. Nice to meet you. And then I saw her posing. I'm like, wow, beautiful. Because she's a figure pro.
yes.
Damn, she looked good. And I just kept watching food. And then she's like, what's your Instagram? And then we both shared it. And then since there on out, we just she just started to message me.
Oh,
And then we just both message each other and we build the love.
that's so cute. Honestly, like I know how it feels to have a friend who feels more like a sister. And when you develop those relationships, it's so special. Like it's irreplaceable and it's something you just hold on to. And I hope that everyone has that type of friendship in their life.
Yes, I agree. Like I'm not I don't really have friends that much because I've been backstabbed a lot. I've been bullied.
Hmm.
And I think she's the only person that I really consider like this much of a friend. Like everybody else is just like, yeah, but it's just like there's that one friend that you have. Like I can just honestly just do anything in front of her or like be myself and I wouldn't be judged. Like you're not concerned about that person talking behind your back. That's something beautiful because you can do anything, you know?
Absolutely. Oh, I was just telling my boyfriend this. I was like, I have a girlfriend who literally like has been there for me through the hardest things in my life, the best things in my life. I've told her everything and anything and she's never judged me. It's like purely unconditional and I never had something like that before her. And so it's healing. It's like a sister healing. Like without her, I don't think I would have been able to even do things like this podcast because she showed me like it was safe to like connect with people, you know? So it's like amazing what those types of friendships can have and how those types of friendships can have an influence on your life.
Yeah. But like to like the way that you narrowed it down, you know, when you go through things, what you said with you and your best friend, that's beautiful. Like
Mm.
that's the most amazing feeling ever. For example, like when I was going through my breakup, like I told you I was going through a really dark time.
Mhm.
She was on FaceTime with me until I fell asleep and she would ring me in the morning. Like if it hung
Oh,
up or our phones died or anything like that, it'll be her and Muhammad always on the phone. Like I'll be constantly crying or something like that. And she'll be on the phone. She's like, are you okay? Like she'll be like, are you sleeping yet? I'm like, no, I'm still awake because I wouldn't go to sleep at all. And then I'll be up with her. She was literally on the phone with me for 24 hours. Even when I
wow.
was around my family, she'll be and then she'll text my sister, is she with you? Yes. Like, okay. Like, you know, it's beautiful to have a friend like that because you never know when you'll find them. Like they're really rare.
True. And all of us can be that friend for someone else too.
Mm-hmm. This
I
is
love
true.
that. That's so amazing. Well, I am glad that you have that. And it sounds like she really looked after you when you were going through a darkness that you didn't know if you would get out of. And that makes me really happy because we need people like that in our life. And as much as we're told we need to be independent and we can do our own thing and we can look out for ourselves, like we were born as relational beings, right? Like we literally like came from two people and we were born out of somebody and we need people, you know?
Yeah. Especially the people that you know you can actually be vulnerable around because you know you try to do everything by yourself because you just don't trust those people. But then there's certain people that you do trust.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you opening up about your different experiences and before I get your best advice, is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, it was awesome. I absolutely love this. And so let's hear your best advice for people who have never competed before but would like to, and then your best advice for people on their road to pro.
Mm, do your research for people who've never competed before. Like, just look up what it is, what division you want to go to. Look for the best coach that you think would work for you. Like, there's people who do if it fits your macros or a straight up bro diet. With like, do your trials and errors before anything. Because like for me personally, I knew like if it fits your macros was not a good choice for me, and I tried it, but I realized like it's just not for me, you know. And then some people, it's just like it does work for them perfectly. And for people who are on their way to road to pro, it's again, I think you really need a coach for every single thing, like a posing coach, a diet coach, sorry, a nutrition coach. Honestly, even so right now, I just started to implement this, and I should have done this a long time ago because I see a huge difference is hire a personal trainer. Like there's a huge difference right now what I'm seeing with how I train by myself because I just trained with my old coach before, but then I stopped, after 5 years and all this. And then like I just recently started to work with somebody to do my personal training and it's life changing. So yeah, like posing coach, nutrition coach, personal trainer. Yeah. Because
That's
it'll be
awesome advice.
yeah, it'll be a huge impact, a huge change. And I feel like I should have done this a long time ago.
Hmm. Well, I appreciate that advice, and I'd love for people to be able to continue to connect with you, follow you, see your journey even moving forward, which by the way, what does that entail? Before you share how to connect, what does the future in this sport look like for you if there is one?
I will go to the Olympia. I have that
Yes.
mentality.
Yes.
So
Love that.
that's that's what it is. I will go to the Olympia and no matter I'm just praying it'll be this year, but if it's not, it's okay.
Hell yeah.
But
Amazing.
my mentality is it will be this year. Always manifest what you want.
Absolutely. Like keep it in a positive mind and have that visualization.
Yes. Mhm.
Amazing. So now how can people connect with you and follow that journey?
You can follow me on my Instagram. It's Chunky Wonky Monkey.
I do want to know how you got that name, by the way, on there.
Oh yeah. So I was chunky when I was young. I was about 185 pounds. And when I started my weight loss journey, then I started to go down. So like that's where I got chunky. Wonky is because I'm a weirdo. Like I'm a huge weirdo. So I was just like, oh, I'm a kind of crazy. So that's where wonky came out from. And when I was younger, I was really bullied because I'm hairy. So I have hairy arms.
Me too.
And like you have that stash, but you go to the lady and she does like your brows and she's like, you want mustache? I'm like, yeah, do that mustache.
I know.
So like people will be like, oh look, there's a monkey. And I'll be like, I'll get so mad. So like I'm like, you know what? Let me just embrace this. Like I'm a monkey. Like
Girl,
so
that's
that's where I got
awesome.
monkey. Yeah.
I
And I've
love
never
that.
changed it.
Well, that's really cool. I think that's adorable. And I'll put that in the show notes page, of course. So you guys listening, that's always on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, it'll be at the top of the page. If you're listening in the future, scroll down to the category section. It's alphabetized. And not only will you find the links to connect with Chantal, but you're also going to see a full breakdown of the topics we covered, the timestamps for everything, so you can go back and listen to certain parts, and of course a summary of the entire episode, so you know exactly what to tell your friends and teammates about the episode when you're encouraging them to listen. And of course, we love when you tag us, the athletes always. I know it means so much to them. Actually, this past weekend, I spoke at Cuties Conquering the Stage, and one of our previous guests, Hannah, told me that she was getting her nails done. And they said, we heard you on Confessions of a Bikini Pro. And I was like, there's no way that happened. But that's so cool. So I just want you guys to know, like, when you share these things or you tell athletes who listen or you connect with them, like, it means so much to them. We don't forget that. And it means so much to me to have this community. So appreciate you all for listening. And Shantal, thank you for your time and for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, this is an honor.
Yeah, no, me too. It's such a pleasure. And to everyone listening, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.